Welcome to this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I am joined today by Sarah Kelly, owner of KSK Consulting. Thanks for joining me, Sarah.
Of course, thank you.
It's great to have you on here. It's always interesting when I see you what style, color, size of earrings you're going to be donning today. So they're always
Yes.
eclectic, but always memorable.
Yes, thank you. I know I showed up to a conference without them on once, and everyone asked if I was okay.
TSA took it, man. They said there was something suspicious about them. They just wanted to have themselves.
Right? I know.
Well, it was great seeing you a couple weeks ago in Minnesota. Congratulations on going on your own and taking, I guess, the
Thank you.
proverbial leap.
Yes.
Actually about to post a blog today on RJ doing a similar thing a few months back. So it's, congrats. Take stones. I don't know how to say it.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a bit of a leap, but I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so.
Well, let's dive into that if you don't mind. So for the people who
Sure.
haven't had a chance of meeting you, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself formally and your career to date in equipment finance?
Yes, I'd love to. So I was born into the industry. My dad is Mark Keatman, who was the owner of KLC Financial. And so growing up in the industry, I did some work for him, during high school and things like that. But professionally, I started in 2009 as their documentation specialist. So worked for KLC for about 10 years. I did everything from documentation, system implementations, operational work, collections, accounting. So kind of the whole gamut. Learned pretty much everything that I know about equipment finance really came from that growing up within it, and learning the language from a young age. So after KLC, I actually went to K2 Capital for a couple years, and they were very heavy in the vendor relationships. So that was a neat kind of different niche to learn. So I worked there for about 2 years. I did accounting and operations as well as business development. So getting to work with those vendors, and we did mostly medical robots and other high-end medical equipment for hospitals and surgical centers. After K2, I actually started KSK Consulting. So I did a little bit of that, and I realized that I didn't know much about the service provider side. So good friend Sean Smith, he with Dedicated Financial, he asked me to come on as the director of sales. So I was with them for about a year and a half, and definitely learned the service provider side and realized that I really miss the funding side. That's where all of my knowledge is. And so after many conferences last year, I realized that just a couple conferences last year. I realized that being in the funding side is really where I want to be. That's where my knowledge is. That's where my passion lies. And consulting allows me to have flexible hours with my young family. So, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, you hit on a point there where it's, you see a lot of these individuals that have been with a leasing company, and they try the service provider route, and you're just like, wait a minute. I don't know if this is necessarily for me, because typically as a service provider, you're going after the leasing companies as clients.
Right.
And then as a service provider, you're like, well, now I need to go and get those clients and make sure they're happy at all times. It's not about my happiness. And it's,
right.
And I really can't relate because I've only been on the other side of it my entire career. But as a consultant, you will see where people respect that because you understand what it's like to be on both sides, but it's still is the client happy?
Right. Oh, 100%. 100%. And I'm grateful for the opportunity of being able to see both, really. It definitely opened up my eyes, and I learned a lot. I was able to talk to a lot of funding companies and learn about their business and how different yet similar they are, as well as talking to a lot of the platforms and how they're similar or different from each other. So it's eye-opening, which was great.
And what was your total mileage logged last year? even want to, I don't want to give you PTSD or anything, but
right. I did 14 conferences, so gone about 55 nights or so. Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah,
just, that's
nothing.
that's
Yeah,
just,
for you, you're like,
I'm
okay.
like, what? My liver's like, that's a reprieve.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
But then again,
So,
I only have, well, I have two kids at home, only one younger one, so
mhm.
definitely understand the trials and tribulations, and trying to get that work life balance is it's one of the
Yes,
things we're
I
always looking for. So I
definitely
get it.
missed my boys. Definitely missed my boys. So, yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit further into KSK Consulting, if you don't mind. What
Mhm.
you know, what areas of expertise are you looking to cover with potential clients?
Yeah, right now in the funding companies, going to new platforms is huge. A lot of them really started Excel spreadsheets and,
Hey,
document.
believe it or
I love
not,
Excel. I
no,
love
believe it or
Excel.
not, I would say, I'm going to say an educated guess, 50, 50% of people in this industry are still using spreadsheets as
Oh,
their
yeah,
main source of truth. And maybe
I would agree with that.
90% are using them in some aspect.
Yes. Yes, and I love Excel. I mean, I love Excel. However, these platforms are really needed. And so a big thing that I like to do is assist those companies in picking the right platform for them, because everyone is a little bit different, right? And how they write their deals, or if they have a big line of credit versus selling them one-to-one to a local bank. So each platform brings pros and cons, and so really advising on which one I believe would work best for their funding company, as well as once implementation is done, working with them on the processes and the procedures of how it then actually works for their company. That's one of the biggest things, right? They're like, oh, this platform is going to do amazing, and it's going to be 3 clicks of a button and bam, like we have all of our reports. And unfortunately,
Hey,
that's not how it works.
are you saying that leasing sales software salespeople aren't exactly on? Come on.
No, they're great. And
No,
but most of them,
I'm just messing with you. I'm a painter. I paint the vision. I paint the vision.
yes, no, yes, I get it. No, I think what we spoke about before, right? You've always been in the service provider side, so you haven't necessarily worked in those funding companies to know how the operations actually work, to then be able to use a system, right? It's two very different things. And so it's, how did you do it before? How are you going to do it after? And, if you've only been there before and have only done that, then it is kind of hard to just be like, okay, now I'm going to do it this different way. And so bringing someone in to consult on that and to be able to assist you in pulling those reports or manipulating spreadsheets in order to make them work for you, or let's look at your process. I know you've done it this way for 10 years. Let's try this new way and see if it works for you. And just really finding that. And also a big thing that I enjoy doing is connecting people and connecting the departments. We all know that salesmen and accountants don't speak the same language. I mean, right? They don't. Um,
Salespeople
so
like numbers. Numbers are good.
yes, exactly. Um, exactly my point. So what I really enjoy doing is kind of coming together and being that communication piece between these departments, and how can we communicate better? How can we fix these processes so that the salesmen know what they're going out and doing and selling versus how that affects the operations and the accounting side? And then
Sure.
speak with the operations and accounting side to be like, hey, they're really not trying to screw you over. Like,
Sure.
but they also have a job to do. So let's connect this and let's see what works for everybody. Let's come to that middle ground that is sometimes hard to find.
Perfect. Yeah, and it's and I was just taking a shot at myself and selling software for 10 years. I mean, it's one of the things where things just get lost in the sales process as you
Hmm.
transition that from, original requirements to, oh yeah, I can do that. It's perfect thing, right? And it's not
Right.
necessarily a software company's fault, but requirements
No.
change, and it's like
Hmm.
anything else, right? Oh, I want that. All right, well, that's going to be more time and more money. Well, no, I don't want that. Well,
Right.
okay, and then then it always comes back up if it's not solved, right? So it's like, what are we doing?
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
that's great. I mean, there's definitely a need for that. I mean, I found that out over the last 18
Hmm.
months. It's a struggle. I mean, even in my years of doing that, before I started consulting, it was always
Hmm.
just trying to have that person in the middle that was like, you know, why? Come on, come on, let's
Right.
go. Because I think
Right.
60% of any implementation project falls on the actual leasing company, not on the software
Yes.
company. And people don't understand that. People are like, well, I'm buying the software from you, make it
Right.
work.
So do it all.
And it's like, that's not necessarily how this works. But
Right.
people are starting to understand that. But
Hmm.
as you get out there and do more of that, hopefully we can spread that word a little better.
Yes. Yes. I want to make it easier for everybody. So that's
don't
my plan.
don't we all?
Right. I know. I know. Well,
So
you're
I
doing a
want
great
to.
job.
I'm trying to. So I have this little article here in this monitor.
Oh,
I don't know. Those aren't the
yes.
same earrings, are
Oh my
they?
gosh, they might be.
They
Ooh,
might
I should
be.
have thought about
They
that.
might be. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. I still there's no there's no blue in here. These are just pure white.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, there you go.
wanted to talk about the top women in leasing designation, Sarah, and kind of what that meant to you when you got that email from Rita.
I was incredibly honored. There's so many women that I've met through the multiple conferences that I've been to in the multiple years being in the industry that I was a little shocked. Definitely honored, and I felt very heard and seen, which is a great feeling to have when you are working so hard within an industry that you love.
I probably know 70% of
Yeah.
these ladies, and it's just amazing where you sit there and it's like, yeah, it's about time some of these people got like the recognition, because I don't know how many iterations of that it's been through, but sometimes
Hmm.
it's hard because there's so many talented females in this industry.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, being born into equipment finance, do you remember
Yeah.
your first conference that you went to?
Ooh, that is a great question.
But then again, I'm sure you were
Um,
baptized by fire anyways, because you were in the office, what, at 23,
22. Yeah. Hmm.
22. So you
Yep.
saw this stuff. I mean, I got in here when I was 20, 23.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Been like a couple years,
it's,
a couple
it's
years. Uh,
almost 2 decades.
shh, I know. We don't need to talk about that. No, I mean, the first real conference that I went to was actually probably the one that was in the Carolinas just a few years ago. I didn't really attend conferences when I was in the industry. The one of the companies I worked for didn't is not real big on the associations because they're so vendor focused. They
Yeah.
just haven't really gone to the associations where with KLC, I didn't go to many. You know what? My first one I think was when my dad was president of NEFA. That would have been my first one. Yep. I went to the tail end of that one. Actually, my son had staples the day that I was supposed to leave. So I, had to go the next day after that. So, it happens. Mama, 4 boys, rough housing. So, yes, I believe that was my first conference that I went to. But for work specifically, it would have been the North Carolina one in Charlotte. So,
And what
yeah.
was your kind of thought? I mean, you were already in this industry, like it's in your
Hmm.
blood. So, and plus being in that KLC office and everything else, I'm sure you understood the camaraderie and the relationships and everything else. But I guess what was your experience in being there and seeing these people for the first time? The majority of them you probably just spoke on the phone.
Yeah, it was definitely eye-opening. I was a little nervous, um, just because I didn't know what to expect. And there was a
Sure.
lot of people, there was a ton of people. But I loved it. I mean, instantly it was just you're talking to people left and right. I knew some people pretty well. Just I had gone to a couple of small events, the ones that were in Minnesota, right? I went to those quite a few times, the boat cruise. So because I had done that, I had met a couple people. So really going and everyone is about connections. I mean, the relationships there are amazing. So you meet one person, then you've met 25
Sure.
within 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So I do remember at one point I was standing there with a woman. It was her first time at a conference as well. So we're both kind of like, hey, let's stick together. Standing there, and all of a sudden there's like 50 people, and we're just talking to everybody, right? And I don't think that I moved from that spot for about 2 hours.
And
So
mind you, that was coming out of COVID too. That was one of the most interesting things for me, where it was like, okay, how's the EFA going to
yes,
do with these green, red, yellow bands? How
that's
long
right.
are
I
people?
forgot about that.
How long are these people going to stay their distance? And all of a sudden, I'm like sitting there. I was at the bar, and I'm like looking around, and it was just like this swarm of everyone together. And I'm like, eh,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
We all missed each other, we all missed each other. It was like, let's go,
Yep.
let's do what we know that we're good at and be together. I mean, we all missed that connection. So it was nice. It
Sure.
was nice to be there.
And I guess the follow up question of that's kind of industry relationships and what they've meant to your career so far.
Industry relationships are everything. That's probably the number one thing that I tell most people is go to these associations, go to some events, make one connection, and you will have so many. It's really a small circle. You go in thinking, there's hundreds of people, but really everyone is so connected, whether you need their assistance now or they need yours, or 2 years from now they need it. Really just making those connections and relationships will bring you a long way. It's one of my favorite things to do is at conferences, I talking to people, I'm like, oh, hey, okay, you need to know this person over here. And I like go grab that person. I'm like, you guys need to connect. Does it do anything for me? No, but I know that there's so many people who are out there to assist, and why not make those connections? So I really feel like relationships and connections are everything in this industry.
And what would you recommend to a young, I guess, male or female getting into the industry? Any words of wisdom?
Ask questions. If you don't know something, don't pretend like you know it.
Yes. It's a favorite thing.
That won't get you very far. People will know that you don't know it.
That sounds great. Wait, what?
Yeah. What did I just agree to? Yeah. So that, what I found at these associations are people are so willing to talk to you. You just, hey, tell me what you do. How do you do it? What has been, the biggest success, and what has been unsuccessful for you, right? Like, let's not make the same mistakes while we're out there. Let's talk and do that. And so I would say for the young people, go make those connections. Don't stay within your little circle. Go and talk to the guys and gals that have been in the industry for 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, they know their stuff. They're in this industry for a reason. They've stayed in this industry for a reason. They are so full of knowledge, and most of the time they want to tell you about it. So,
Wait,
just ask
wait,
them.
are you saying that people like to hear themselves talk?
No, they like to give their knowledge, Jesse. Come on. I mean, I think there's some who like to hear themselves talk, but that's okay. If it's full of knowledge, why not listen, right?
I get it. Same page.
Yeah.
Same page.
And I think also for the young people, you're not stuck in one place. I mean, we're proof of that, right? You don't have to stay in one place. You don't have to stay in one position. It's learn them all. That's one of the things that I am the most grateful for, is that I truly have learned them all. I know how things connect. I know how the process works throughout the whole thing, not just in my little, space. So that's definitely what I would tell somebody who's younger. I
Thank
mean,
you
I'm
for
pretty young, so I'm just joking.
not going there. The interview is going well so far, so I'm good. Let's keep it going.
Too funny. Oh man.
So I do ask everyone who comes on here to give me a little fun fact about themselves. So,
Oh
or the
man.
fact that you have 4 boys, God bless you. I guess it's better than
Pretty
4 young
fun
girls.
fact.
So I guess if you think of glass half full,
Right. I know.
yeah.
I used to be a competition cheerleading coach. And so
Oh,
I've had my fair share of, you know,
yelling.
cheerleaders.
Laying in bed and all you hear is yelling. It's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. No, let's see. A fun fact besides that. I love traveling. I mean, not just for business. I love to travel for fun. Uh, and trying new interesting foods. And I love giving my boys new exciting experiences. So that's one of my most favorite things to do with them is finding new experiences to do.
So note to self: 14 conferences was not enough. You need to travel more. Got it.
No. Travel more for fun.
So what's the best place you traveled to?
Costa Rica. Yes, all-time favorite. I think everyone needs to go to Costa Rica.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you been?
I was fortunate to go there. I think, I don't know, 8 years ago.
Okay.
I think I sat on the beach, went on a boat. It's great. It's nice not to do anything.
I know, right?
I really don't know what
great.
that's like anymore. It's like you go on a vacation with your
know.
family, and it's like, I kind of need a vacation for my vacation. And
I know exactly how that feels. hmm I'm like, wait, was that a vacation? I definitely took for granted all the vacations as a child, right? Like, whew, if I could go back,
yeah.
I would
Thanks.
do things a little different.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So I guess my final question I have for you, Sarah, is why should someone want to do business with Sarah Kelly?
With my experience, my passion and drive, I get things done. And I'm not afraid to admit when it's not something in my wheelhouse, I have the connections to still get it done with someone who can do it. So that's why.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you taking some time, especially, with a new career move and everything going on, to spend some time with me here today. So excited for you.
I appreciate it.
Excited for you. Excited to see what the future holds. I'm sure we'll be collaborating on a few things.
100%.
I would say our philosophies are similar in nature when it comes to some of these projects. So I would not be surprised. But I appreciate your time today, Sarah, and good luck with everything, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.